Welcome back to cyberspace, where you can chase any face in the human race. And today, we're going to be doing the invisibility code. The one-line code for invisibility.
Play of the game.
And I'm going to teach you not only this cool invisibility code that I made, but I'm also going to teach you how to do if statements, and else if, and if you needed to do else. So we'll get right into it. Let's go do our workshop settings, and I have the invisibility code already set out here. So I'm going to recreate it from scratch, making it in a completely another invisibility code, so you guys can see. So basically, at the start of our invisibility code, we're going to want to set our event to ongoing each player, because this is going to be different for each player. Also, you're going to want to go into your edit variables, and you're going to want to change the number 10 to player invisibility. You can change any of these variables and use it. Just make sure that you remember the variable name. And I chose player invisibility so it's easier to understand. So just put that in there, player invisibility. Just type it in. And then we are going to make the condition. Now the condition is button held. Is one of the most important conditions in Overwatch. You're going to be using it for every button interaction. And we just hit OK. Is button held event player button interact is equal to true, and this will always initiate these actions for each separate player. This is what the event is calling for. So then we're going to make a play effect, and I always recommend you guys do a play effect because it actually makes it easier to understand what's going on. So we're actually just going to put a play effect, a normal play effect, super easy, super simple. Just put it in a normal white effect. You can change it whatever you want, but we're just going to put a play effect, and then we're going to go to the if statement. So this if statement, we're going to compare that player variable, so play var, right? We're going to compare the player var variable to the event player variable that it has, which is player invisibility, the one that we made. And then we're going to set the boolean to false. That's it, false. And you'll understand why we're going to be doing this because of the invisible code that we're going to be making. So the next part, we're going to want to set invisibility. So you're going to type set invisible event player, and do it to all. So that means if you only want it to do it to your enemies, you can choose enemies, but I'm going to do it to everybody. All people will be turned invisible. And now we're going to change the variable. We're going to set the player var, set the player variable, player invisibility, to true. And the reason why we're doing this is because when you first run this code, it's going to play an explosion. The next part that's going to happen is if the player invisibility, which is false, which is always true for the start when you make a variable, it's always, player invisibility is always going to be false. You're going to set yourself to be invisible to everyone, right? And then the event player dot invisibility, this part, you don't want this code to happen again because now you're invisible, so you have to set your invisibility to true. And to make sure that you can change back, we're going to set another else if condition for player, an else if condition for player var, for player invisibility. We're going to set it to true this time. So this basically states that, let's say we press this button once, and we did this code, right? So now our player invisibility is true. So now this code will be skipped because our player invisibility is not false anymore. It's true. So this entire statement is not true anymore. So the if condition, this entire section will be skipped. It will not run. But it will run once we do some tweaking here. So set invisibility event player all. So you're going to want to copy these two pieces of code and paste them here. You're going to want to set this to the opposite. So set the player invisibility to false. We're setting that to false. And set this to none so that the players can see us again. Everyone can see us. And then the last thing you need to add to this is an end condition. Don't really ask why. It just closes this this entire loop so you don't have to, so it doesn't leak into other code. And then you're going to want to do a wait condition, which is one of the best conditions to use. Use the ignore condition for 0.5 seconds so that the people can't spam this button and consistently use this code and maybe break it. So what's going to happen here now, that the code that we created, is that once you press the interact button, it will play an effect, the good explosion, which you're probably not going to see because it's very quick. If the player invisibility is false, which it is at the start of the game, you're going to set that player to be invisible to everyone. Then the event player invisibility, since this is already at false, we need to set it to true so this code doesn't run again. Then once this will be skipped because this was the only code that went through. So this code will be skipped because of the else if condition, and then it will end. So then we will wait 0.5 seconds, and if a person presses this button again for a second time and their player invisibility is true, then what it's going to do is it's going to play the effect. It's going to skip all of this in the if condition, and then it's going to only activate the else if statement here. So it'll set the player to invisibility none, and it will then change the event player to player invisibility to false. What this will do is that it will be able to see the player, and it will reset this condition so that the next time you press the button, it'll just loop into this one, and then it'll continue. So if you have any questions, just link, comment down, and subscribe for more one-shop workshop codes. I'm going to be making an entire series of these, and I'll try to do as many small codes as possible so you guys can put it inside your games or fit it to whatever you want. This is Cyberspace, heading out.